And we're live.
Nice.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Monica Ramirez, and we're in Soul Talk. And I'm Warrior of Love at the same time. Today, we have a very, very special guest that is dearly for me. Is one of my soul sisters from New Zealand, and her name is Kelly Monique. And before we start asking her questions, I would like to tell you a little bit about her, who she is. That besides that she's magical and amazing sister, an amazing human being that I admire so much. She's a very psychic medium. She's a very good one. She channel message from the higher powers, soul self, spirit guides, and loved ones that cross over. She does readings for people to support them and move them forward in their crossroads by assisting them in their potential options of solutions through messages from the spirit guides. She recognized people with loved ones when passed and support them and give them grief in the process. She assists with moving energy through communications and distance healing. Kelly works with a pure high frequency, light, white knowledge, and any shadows that arise with the intent to illuminate and rise the energies. Kelly Monique loves the spirit deeply, and she is also an NLP practitioner. I have the pleasure to study that class with her, and I believe in this timeline because we have met through many other timelines. And I present you guys my dear sister Kelly. Kelly, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Monica. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Kelly, there is many taboos and many misconceptions about channelers and about psychics around the world. And I know we work in those realms and we love to be in those realms, but I would like to clarify with people what it is about being a psychic medium. And I would like your description, my sister.
Okay. So for me, being a psychic medium, and it's only um, with my own experience, obviously, it's communicating with higher self, with divine energy, with loved ones on the other side. I almost separate it for me, and when I describe it to clients, I sort of see the psychic aspect a little bit separate to the mediumship. For me personally, the mediumship is focusing on connection with the loved one that's crossed over. But in saying that, it's mediumship with all spirits because all beings, spirits, whether it's divine energy, um, beyond this plane or here and now or crossed over, it's all the same at the end of the day. But with mediumship, I kind of separate it a little bit because there's some people that really want to focus on connecting with a loved one that's crossed over, and that's what I sort of call my mediumship. And then the psychic insight is just across the board, and mediumship can come through that. And the psychic insight to me is recognizing what I'm seeing in my mind's eye and these eyes around the client or around a situation or place, the feelings that I feel in my body and being, the auditory that I can pick up on, and yeah, but it's a different sensation that comes over me when it's a loved one that's crossed over in spirit. It's almost like just like how someone would enter the room here with us to join our conversation. It brings a presence, whereas the psychic reading side, I don't always have such a presence. I have an access to it. It's almost like it's up and out of this space. But when it's mediumship and a loved one crossover coming into this space, it's a different vibration and different messages and visuals and auditory coming through from there. Does that make sense? Did I deliver that the right way?
To clarify it more, let's put it like this: what is the difference between a channeler and a medium?
Yep. To me, I see us channeling all the time. I feel like we're constantly channeling as human beings. We're channeling love, we're channeling energy, we're channeling that healing, that connection from, as I'd call it, the heavens coming through us to bless the world around us. We also can channel anger and dark vibrations, not that that's what I want to be doing, but I feel like that can come through, that can be channeling through. We channel art, we channel music, we channel information. I feel like when you're on a roll, it could be part of your soul purpose. It could be around a very mainstream business type role, and somebody, it might be their passion and soul purpose to be in that role, and the information just flows through them. And yes, they're knowledgeable and it's researched and it's been programmed in the mind, but I feel like there's a channel open for that to be amplified. So I feel like channeling is happening all the time, and I think that spirit comes through, whether that be a loved one on the other side or just a higher power or our ancestry. I feel like we're all able to access that through channeling. Mediumship, yeah, that's sort of really focusing and refining that channel to be with someone that's crossed over on the other side and channeling that message cleanly so that nothing else is interfering. It's just where I'm being directed.
I do agree. But the energy also feels very different when you're channeling beings of the higher realms than when you're
Yeah.
channeling a loved one that just passed away. Correct?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Because for me, it's like if we're channeling from the higher realms, that's that high frequency, white light and love. And that's a lot of what I'm working with to be able to channel um, when I'm do mediumship to channel specific message from somebody. I'm using that channel of high frequency white light partly to set the tone so that only the good energies can come in. And it does feel completely different because I've already prepared myself with that high frequency white light. Now, if I have someone come in, say if it's someone that's had a lot of trauma, maybe addiction or something, maybe they took their own life, that sort of stuff. It's going to be at a lower vibration, but it's encompassed with light. And of course, because they've crossed over, and if I'm communicating with them, they've already gone to the next levels they need to be in their healing and in their soul journey, then it does feel different. It's just encased in that light that we're talking about channeling, or that higher frequency. So that is there, but it's almost like the foundation preparation for that same connection.
It is like channeling a being still with their ego, because even if they pass over, they died still with their ego, and so they can clear it out. Sometimes I do prefer to talk with the higher self of the person that died, that to speak with the ego person that's still there trying to battling what I did wrong in the timeline. Or what do you, or how do you work with that with clients? Because if they wanted to talk with their father, sometimes the father is still has their ego conscience, except for the higher being, the higher self of my father. Let's put it like that. I just put an example. So like that,
Yeah,
I
that's good. I see it to be the same as people. Like when you're connecting with someone you love, there's times where you see no ego and you're communicating where the ego is completely detached and you're in a place of unconditional love. And then ego can step in depending on life and triggers and conditioning and so on. For me, with spirit, once I've crossed over, I often don't feel, sense, and see the ego, but I can feel and sense and see the ego or the echoes of the ego from when they're alive. And maybe they carry that over also to describe who they are and to put some pieces together for us to recognize them. Because once I've crossed over, from what I've seen, is it's almost like everything is let go and falls away, but they still bring on those characteristics. So my father, who's in spirit, he's he was quite a tough man. He had big ego and he was a lot of fun. But he had a way in his life which his ego would show up. And so in spirit, he's free of that. So he doesn't have to be weighed down by that. But every now and then he can still say and bring message that comes across egotistic because it was kind of part of him for such a long time. But largely he's free of that. So it feels like I'm able to, I don't know, I don't believe I'm removing their ego, but in the space that we're in, both of our egos have kind of fallen away. It's removed because that's something that I do when I go into practice. I'm making sure I leave my ego aside because we've got an ego, and because that's not going to help with the message, because then I'll be attached to the outcomes. And spirit kind of does the same when I'm communicating to get those clean messages.
How do you know when you're receiving a message that you know that is like there's spirits or beings that are tricksters, let's put it like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can feel that information is coming with a private agenda that is not the agenda that actually is from the light or love. And how do you distinguish that?
So first off, with my readings, I have my contracts with my spirit guides in place. I make it very clear to them that I don't want any tricksters, anything of a lower vibration. I'm happy to observe shadows in a spirit, but it's at a more of a distance of the space that we're working in. And I'm happy to acknowledge the shadows in a client too, but really I'm inviting clients that are open, that are moving forward, that are also doing the work themselves, so that we get the most out of it. And just the same from the spirit, it has to be of us, my guides, to send me clients and spirits and working realms that are of a higher frequency, or at least have that potential to really grow there fast, so that I'm not wasting my time and whoever is in front of me isn't wasting their time, and I'm not opening me or my client up to lower vibrations. The way I recognize it, and it doesn't happen in readings, it pops up in my daily life more so than in reading. Well, not daily, but it'll be in the outside world. But very rarely, because even then I've got these contracts in place. So I don't want any spirits messing with me. I command that, I claim that, I have that right. And that's the way I feel like people should be approaching it and really claiming the space. Also by bringing in light and just making it simple in my mind, going, no, there's no room for any rush. It's love, the light, high frequency, pure intention, no excuses. So it's kind of like a mindset that keeps the tricksters out. If there's a trickster that crosses my path, it's all those vibrations that we feel in our body, a sickly feeling in the tummy. It could be a taste in the mouth. It could be prickly. I may be seeing shadows or flashes of something more demonic, and that just doesn't have an invite. But I will observe it without fear from a distance, and I'll also call on a bit of support if I want to, and see it for what it is, and try and break it down to a purer form in my mind. And because sometimes it might be a spirit that's stuck here, that has been lost and hasn't made amends from their life, and it's growing into this piece, from conditioning. So I go right down to the beginning, to birth essentially, or pre-birth, and look at that being then. And then there's some beings so dark of the underworld that there's just no time for you. There's no invitation. I blast it with light. I'm calling on high frequency support, and yeah, away.
I just wanted to let know everybody that is seeing us right now that if you have any questions, please type it down, so like that I can mention it to Kelly. And if you have any questions, just type it down. We will appreciate that very much. And well, Kelly, I imagine that you use protections. I always, when I am teaching the class of channeling, everybody's asking me, "Oh, what protections?" and so forth. And I know the protect in the way how I see the protections is the part of us that still have fear needs that protection. But if we come out of the fear, like you are protected, it's a state of mind and so forth, then you will not need any kind of protections. But do you remember how when you did not have that state of mind of that you don't need protections? How do you deal with that before? This is for all our viewers.
just felt like it was just froze a little bit on us. Do we have a clean connection now?
Uh,
We,
Apparently we
yeah,
do. Okay. Did you hear my question or you did it?
yeah.
No. Yes. Okay.
There were parts of it that disappeared on me. But it was around protection, wasn't it? And asking how I protect myself. And
Yes.
is that correct? Yeah. And I heard you say something about the state of mind. It glitched in and out, but I think I've got the pieces
Just because like
together.
I know right now. I'm sorry. The internet on my computer. The some I know you have a state of mind now. Like I do now. I do feel protected when I'm channeling, when I'm doing that spiritual work. But
Yeah.
it was not always like that. Before I used to go to many rituals to feel protected and so on. So then I can channel and feel comfortable. Now
Yeah.
I know now my state of mind, like you mentioned, it is very different than it was. But for
Yeah.
many viewers that do not have that state of mind that they're protected and safe, what would you tell them?
Okay. So first I would start with going with that way of being protected. Act as if, of course, and that's what you're talking about. We do. We know we're protected. We claim it. We've stepped into it. But yes, me too. Like there's times in my life, um, 15 years ago comes into mind where I did feel quite unsafe, and I was also having quite frightening spiritual experiences along the way. So it really was practice, practice, practice. And for me, that was black and white. That was, I grew up Christian, so it was like, okay, I'll call on Christ-like energy. I also had a connection with the goddesses and Mother Mary. So I like would always turn to a light energy, whether it be gods or goddesses. Um, it could be my grandfather on the other side because I felt very safe with him. So I would be calling on that support. I would be praying. I would be praying to be safe, in a ritual. But the more you do it and the more you recognize that it's working. Someone said to me years ago, here's a prayer, and the prayer was spirit guide of light of mine, clear my aura of nonsense spirits and put in its place of protection for a lifetime. And so I used to do that over and over, and he laughed at me. This is an older gentleman, and he just laughed, and I didn't know what his laugh is. Don't you believe, that you're worthy of receiving what you've asked? You've asked for protection for a lifetime. So he almost said, stop it, stop asking for protection and just trust. And so that was a big turning point for me. And when I feel unsafe, I just know it's a lack of love. So as soon as that fear comes in, I have to just bring in, I just have to counteract it with love. A big part of it for me, I see, is my fear is here. It's in my head. If I drop into my heart and body and being and into my core, there's no fear there. There's no fear in my soul. It's a human conditioning for me. It's so if I can just bring my attention to heart, body, and soul and get out of the head and out of that programming that tells me to be afraid and manifest frightful situations, then I am safe. So it's about claiming it. And it was journaling. I am safe. I am secure. I am calm. I am relaxed. Mantraing it over and over. So that's how I've worked with it. With clients, I would also be breaking it down very simple. A message coming from spirit is visualizing white light coming through the crown, body and being, flowing out the hands and feet as if it's been drained away. So that is a wash. And then once you feel that, or you just imagine that being done, because you don't have to feel it, just imagine it's done and make it quick. Seal that off, fill yourself up with white light, let it overflow like a cup into your being and aura, and seal it off with a color that you love. So that would be a very simple way to protect yourself. um, I heard Spirit just say then, know your limitations, know where you're at, know your limitations of what you're working with, especially if you're doing spirit work. Don't just jump in there to communicate with any old spirit, but yes, talk to your loved ones on the other side. If you feel safe and if you ask yourself, if this is a safe space for work, do it. But check in with self. Ask your body to give you a yes and a no, and it will be clear. And I think that's really important, checking in with self and asking self questions with anything you do. And even if you feel unsafe, am I safe? You'll get that response. If you're getting a response that you are somewhat unsafe, what is it that I need to be doing? Like really just keeping that communication with self and higher self going, and not listening from here so much, but listening in the heart and in the body and the higher frequency.
I do agree with you. Hey, we have a question from Catherine. Can you read it?
Yeah.
With such a gift, Kelly, how do you know that you were called to do? What were the signs that you were followed?
That's a good question. um, in my childhood, I felt a desire for there to be something more than the mundane reality around us. And I'd talk to animals and talk to the stars. And so I think about that, like when I started to really spiritually awaken and recognize what I was doing later in life, I think back to my childhood and some signs and synchronicities. I picked up on things, so I'm looking at my timeline and going, where have I these signs that there's something more going on magically? And so there were signs that I maybe forgot and missed. So it's a sort of a checking into the past. It's also so important about going where you feel like if you've got a strong vibration around, say, connecting with spirit or white magic or whatever it might be, it's part of you, like it's probably part of your past life. I really see that a lot in my book myself, the aspects of the world, culture, even religion, or occupations, or anything. If I'm really drawn to it, if it attracts me, it's a part of me. There's reasons for it. And I'm asking questions to self, layer of questions. Why am I so attracted to this way of being? Why am I attracted to this magic? And so where you're attracted, to me, it feels like spirit pushing you onto the path. And if you're not attracted to that journey, it's not for you. If you're attracted to a more mainstream world, that's because that's your spirit purpose too.
Or it's not your time? Because I remember, well, I like you. I grew up very gifted. I used to have my spirit guides and talk with animals and insects and so forth. But then the adults came, or the religion came too, and you can't talk even with God unless you talk with a priest. You can't
Yeah,
talk, and all this kind of and fear-based ideology. That of course I did not believe that I can do it for many years, until I went to a process again to reawaken and so forth, and I again do it. So, but the things are gonna appear for you when you are ready. Because
100%.
probably when I was in a lot of fear and suddenly I start hearing voices, or I start receiving the messages, I would not believe it because I
Yeah,
was in fear base, or I will distort completely the message that they were trying to give me because I was in fear base. So nothing is going to arrive to us unless we are ready for the message that we need to receive,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. And ego is another one that showed itself in my journey. So it's almost like at 21, I got pregnant and I started hearing voices again, and felt connection with my grandfather in particular. And I got excited, and then I sort of started to play with it, which I do recommend play, like in a childlike, innocent way. But at the same time, my ego was in there going, oh, what could you do, and just wanting to get some, um, I guess, a reaction from other people to say, wow, you can do this, or you're amazing, and that's why I started to play with it. And I very quickly learned that that journey becomes dark very fast. And I opened myself up to quite a dark world spiritually because I wanted to access power. And I didn't know that I was accessing it from a darkness. But what I really was seeking was empowerment because my confidence and self worth would have been quite low at that time. And I was actually just trying to empower myself and find myself. But the big key is step out of the ego. And the old man that I mentioned earlier that gave me good advice, he also talked to me about the ego. And he had me stand there and he goes, okay, you're standing in your ego, it's right there. Now step to the left and just leave it behind. And so I stepped to the left, and because I used my imagination, my ego stood there in a visual, transparent sort of Kelly form, and I was able to step out of it. And I've always stepped out of my ego when I need to. Yeah, that's how
Yes,
it's
it
sort of
depends
played
where,
with me.
yeah, where do you feel it in the way when you're doing. I've been reading right now again the love one of Ra, and one of the when he's talking about the I know he mentions the shit, I forgot. I'm sorry for my word. The densities or the densities. Basically, he's talking about the fourth, dark entity can go to even to the fifth dimension, but that's where it's gonna stop because it don't not allow the fourth dimension, that is the heart, the love, the unconditional love, to actually work with that. So it can go more up from the fifth dimension because it actually can't even enter into the fifth dimension because it's not working with unconditional love. It's only by power and so forth. That's one of the things that stop them to. You can, we're all powerful, and we even love can be very powerful in a good way, or we can use it also in the bad way. So there's loves that are very sick, and there are loves that they just let you be. And the same thing applies for the densities or the vibrations or the entities that we are dealing with or we're talking about. And our work is precisely that, working with the light. It's working with unconditional love at the same time, like you do.
Yeah,
But we have to, but we had to have the contrast of the dark side, understanding our powerful in the dark side, so we can understand what we don't want for us and we don't want for others at the same time.
yeah, and just learning and growing from that shadow because we are all light and dark. It's within us and it's outside of us. It's everywhere. And I guess I always come back to love and fear and recognizing, where the fear is coming in because the shadow or the dark is only dark due to our perception. Therefore, maybe it needs more love from my intention, from my way of thinking, and that will illuminate that shadow to see it more clearly. And then it just is. It then becomes not dark, not light. And the same as love, when it's really illuminated and seen clearly, it just is. It's just a yeah,
Removing the judgment, because that creates the polarity. Is
yeah,
bad or good? They're all of us, and we're all one at the end.
yeah.
It's understanding having a different conscience when you're something that the benefits. Well, I would like to we talk about what is the benefits of channeling.
Oh, it makes good decision making when I'm trying to find something at the supermarket to cook, or honestly, I use it all the time. It helps. When we're talking about channeling, say message for self or messages, it helps keep the path clean and clear. So sometimes it could be as simple as, so I'm bringing it into my personal life a little bit, but in the way of working with it every day, I might really want to go out with the girls that night, but then I question it. So if there's a question, then I'm asking very cleanly to my higher self and to spirit, should I be on this path tonight? And I might get a calling to stay home, but I don't want to stay home. I stay home, because that is the message from higher self, high frequency, and pure intent. And so when I'm channeling for other people, it's really about finding a path, or exploring a path with them in support of their journey, and looking at it with more clarity. So to me, the benefit of channeling really is for clarity to make our decisions. It might sound like I'm getting something else to make a decision, but like I said, it's like I already feel like, I've got a question around that. So I channel information to help make my decision, but also to support people in other decisions. And then the mediumship channeling, that's channeling information from another being. So that's just communication. Isn't it beautiful that, not just with me, 'cause it's not me, it's really the person that's showing up, that's manifested that point in time and experience and calling for their loved one on the other side. And their loved one will find a way to get to you and communicate, whether it's through me or another medium, or yourself. There'll be messages happening all the time. And it's so the benefit of that is just reconnecting us and recognizing that there's no true separation, and love is infinite, and that is just beautiful, and that is what brings us back home to our heart and our true self and the truth. So it's honest. So that feeds my soul with channeling too. It's true and honest.
We have a comment from Catherine. It says, observation as the two of you keep engaging conversations, each of you are becoming brighter. Thank you, Catherine.
Bright blessings to you.
I have encountered in my experience of channeling that also the understanding more my capacity that I did not have before I started channeling more often, it have changed. Like understanding different concepts of just understanding the polarities or how we judge people or things like that. When I'm judging people, immediately my higher self thoughts like, why you're judging that person? That's an image of you that you're reflecting on that person. It is really that person that you're judging, or just yourself? And that conversation start going on inside of me. So you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm doing this mistake. Oh, I'm not going to judge it anymore because in a way it's a reflection on me. So it have changed me channeling in the way that I can understand bigger concepts, unconditional love or unity, and removing judgments or fears. Like sometimes the arguments I have with myself is, hey, why you fear that? Do you really need to fear that, or is a old program that is telling you to fear something? And like, oh, okay, I get it. And like, yeah, it's an old program, let's remove it, it's useless. And that's what it helps also channeling, because many
Mm,
people, they don't understand why it's so important to, because we all have the capacity to do it, but we have to
yeah.
work with our fears and with our limitations, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. We all have, we're doing it all the time, whether it be positive or negative, channeling is happening the way I see it. And our conscious or subconscious intention is connected to that channel, that channeling. And so, yeah, when it's a conscious intention, and to be observing that channel is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so is the subconscious channeling, because people don't realize that sometimes when a friend turns up with tears and they wrap their arms around them, and that friend melts in their arms and they feel so safe and warm, that they are channeling the frequency of light and power and healing, and they can actually change that person's life with a hug. It could be a stranger, it could be a smile in the supermarket, an exchange, just an acknowledgement, and they're channeling. To me, it looks like light, and that's coming through and out, whether it's out the eyes, whether it's out the heart, or from the hands. So I feel like channeling is just constantly happening anyway. And when we consciously get on board, we can make that much more of a difference, and subconscious channeling will happen that much more for the greatest good if that's your intent. So sometimes people say to me that I've given them a message or I've sent them healing or done something when I haven't had any clue of it. This has probably happened to you too, Monica. It's fallen out your mouth, or just
Yes.
showed up with the intent to love and care. And so, yeah, channeling just is constantly happening, isn't it?
Yes, it's sometimes now I learned to shut up.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I didn't, and so it got me in a lot of troubles, and maybe still got me in troubles because people are not prepared sometimes to just. I am not filtering. I'm not trying to stop it. Sometimes the message is not for me to even to understand. It's for the other person the message,
Yeah.
and they will understand. And sometimes they're not prepared to listen to it. So that can
Yeah.
get us in trouble sometimes, right?
Yeah. And that trouble can actually be okay sometimes, because who's to say our role is always meant to be love, light, and fluffiness, when sometimes it's meant to be scratchy and uncomfortable and pushing outside the comfort zone, even if that's not our intent. But something that comes to mind is my old man Bill that I keep talking about, who's my mentor. He says if it falls out, and if you're saying it, if it's happening and it doesn't be received well, it doesn't matter, because it might really mean something in 20 years' time. It might really be special, or it might, have a purpose that you're not to understand. So really what other people think or feel and how they react is, oh, this is his words which resonate with me. It's none of your business. Like, I have empathy and love in my heart always, but if someone's taking it away, or I don't want to say wrong way, if someone's taking it in a way where they don't like it, they don't want to hear it, or they're not meant to hear it at that time, we really just have to let these things go and focus on our own truth,
Yeah,
I think,
I
and still
agree.
learning. Always learning.
Hey, beautiful. I know we studied together NLP, and do you use any of the techniques with your clients for healing purpose?
Yeah, I these days call it pathway work, because it feels like it's a little bit of hypno, it's a bit of meditation. I move energy from my body, so it's like an aspect of them into my body and being. I can feel the chakras, the body emotions, and then I can recognize it and move it from mine. So while I'm doing, I don't always call it meditation, but I like to sort of drop someone into a state of relaxation where the subconscious and conscious are taking it all in and speaking to the whole being, body and being, and then supporting them with their desired outcome, their programs that they want in place, or maybe remove things that no longer serve them, while doing that healing through communication, through distant healing. Um, I kind of mushed everything together. So yes, I still use it almost every session in some way or another, even if it's as simple as reframing things for people. That's meant to be. But it's like our guides will, whatever our tools are, will give us our toolbox and pull tools out and for us to use, and however they come is how it
Yes, because
unfolds.
it's not a limiting practice, the NLP, that do not let you use your psychic or medium or channeling abilities or
Right.
any
Yeah.
other ability that you have. It is open in a way, so we can use it because we feel it. We feel the person, what is going on, and so forth. And that's our psychic part. That doesn't have to do with NLP. We just combine them, the toolbox, like you say, and that's an awesome practice because of that. Uh, and um, and yes, and I did became after that BQH, that's hypnotherapy too, but it's kind of the system of Dolores Cannon, but not through Dolores Cannon. It's from one of her students, Candace Crawford, and And after I finish it and I study and I practice with many clients, I understood that that was also part of NLP, the Milton model, and uh, and that is very helpful sometimes when the people are stuck.
Yeah.
And how do you practice that one with people? How do you work with that with a client? Just tell us in general, how do you work with a client? You receive a client that is in trauma, or is in fear, or they is in removing limiting beliefs. How do you work with them?
Okay. Um, so first always is love, and sometimes when there's someone that has limiting beliefs or blockages, it's amazing what the human mind might do. So I've got to make sure I get myself out of the way, because I could be panicking and thinking, oh, how am I going to move this, or how can I support this person? And oh my God, this program is so dense, or whatever it might be. So it's like move that, just focus on the love, see the soul. So then I'm really focusing on seeing the soul essence of the person inside them, and I'm drawing that out. And if I just let that flow, there will be certain memories or inklings, reminders of who they really are. I feel like with these blockages, it's storytelling a lot of the time, stories that they've told themselves, conditionings. It's these programs, right? And so I try and bring it right back to the cleanest program that I can see, which is the authentic blueprint or the original of their soul. Try and go back to that. So it's almost like I'm accessing them before birth, so going right back in the timeline or even past life. So that can be useful. It's such a good question, because there's so many ways that we can work this. But I think I used to put people on my healing table and do energy healing and read through the energy and work it that way. Then when I started working online and over the phone more, I started to recognize it's like an aspect of them. I can feel their spirit almost enter my body, and then hello, I've got the nervous anxiety in my tummy, and I've got the broken heart, and I've got the closure around my throat. So then I'm asking questions around my body, about this person. So why am I feeling the closure around my throat? Oh, okay, someone took your power. See how my hand just went there? It's like it's like an outside energy. This is all just coming fast, but that's kind of influencing that. Someone's taken my voice. And so then I'm asking spirit very quickly if that's fact. Yes, it is, and moving it that way. So then I'm able to communicate and where I think the blockage is, what spirit's telling me, but I'm also moving the energy through me. Very rarely will I, if the person's in the same room as me, very rarely will I go over to them and actually put my hands on and move energy. I can, but I actually feel it's more efficient these days for me to do it through me, because then I can feel when it's really gone. Because when I feel someone else's energy, I can feel when it's gone and going, but I'm not inside their body. But if it's like that inside mine, I can feel if any niggles or residue, because once it's gone, it will be free and I will feel like me again. So that's largely how I'm working with a lot of blockages. Um, and sometimes it's just going over and over, giving the person time. Sometimes you get a big result in an hour session. Sometimes it might be 3 years in multiple sessions. And being patient in their journey, and just recognizing that we're not looking for the end result. We're focusing on the goal, but not expecting it at any particular time, claiming a healing for the greatest good without having these smaller human expectations, because I feel like that interferes with the process. Yeah.
We have a question from Catherine. It says, Kelly, do you have a daily health behavior, or keep your body in optimal form to work with you? I believe she's talking about that. Tell me if I'm wrong, Catherine. If you're saying that if she keeps the energy of others in herself, or does she clear herself after a session? That's what you mean? Or am I getting it wrong. Or do you understand it like that, Kelly?
Yeah, well, we can start talking on it, and maybe Catherine can give us more if we need to, but I can only speak to remove the energies from what you're talking about, Monica. Oh, she said yes, good. um, so the way I'm working is I'm always working with white light energy, and just like what I mentioned earlier in our session here is high frequency white light, just created from my imagination is fine, but just bringing that from the crown, body, and being, washing it out the hands and feet. So I'm washing, just like how you would go and have a shower and wash any grime and it goes down the drain. That's how I see it. It's going inside my crown, body, and being and washing with pure high frequency crystal water, white light, or whatever it might be, using my wonderful imagination that we all have, accessing that childlike awe within us where magic happens, and just really having a mindset and having contracts in place that this will feed me, not drain me. So that's how I clean, is just a lot of the time it's visualization. But there are things that can help, like, yes, I need to eat after sometimes, and protein is usually what my body craves, and something like nuts, or yeah, just something to eat to ground myself. Hands on the grass if I feel up and away, feet consciously on the ground. But it's actually quite a quick repair. Yeah.
Hey, we have
Oh,
wiki.
Wiki's there.
Yes.
So again, it's a state of mind, and that was from other people's belief systems. Like, I heard for years that psychics get drained, psychics get sick, psychics carry other people's stuff. Well, I'm just not going to have that. And I've sort of said to my guides too, if you want me to do this work, you make sure that you you keep me clean, just as I will try and do the same. But like, just recently, I got myself run down, and I haven't been very well for the last few days because I was pushing it too hard. So I've got to stop when I'm told to stop. And so I've taken a couple of days off, which is what body and being needed. So listening to self and creating your own programs, creating your own systems that work for you.
Yeah, how I do it, I do send it to the Mother Earth, or that energy to let it go and not get to it. And yes, you're so right. We tend to work, 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 and we forget to attend ourselves and just have fun and laugh. That's so important to clear ourselves, to put attention to us. Yes, we're here to serve, but also to enjoy life, not only to
Yeah.
work, work, work all the time.
Yeah, I use my imagination a lot, and I also have a switch. It's almost like a light switch, which has an on and an off. And so I will flick it off and, like, make sure that I'm shutting down um, kind of my insight unless I really need it. And I give myself permission to just be very human and talk crap and be okay with it.
Wiki, who I finally made it to. So Miss Monica Ramirez and to Kelly Monique as guests. As a wonderful gift indeed. Yes, it is a gift to have you here, Wiki. I miss you guys.
Yeah, I miss Vicky and Monica. We're family, our little
Yes.
NLP family.
Yes. Hey, beautiful. Do you're teaching classes about psychics, or you're gonna have soon classes, and so like that people knows if they want to register over there with you, or if you're doing it online, so everybody can enjoy it, including me.
Yeah, well, I have a page on Facebook called the Moon Oracle, and so that's where I advertise when I am doing something. I have been doing workshops, but they've been in person from Te Puru on the Thames coast in New Zealand. But there is a calling for me to get on board and do my work online. So it's not set up yet, but yes, it'll be set up. And that's awakening self is what I sort of call it to be, or awakening self through psychic abilities. And it's it's not a prepared structure of teaching. It's largely channeled as we go. So depending on who's in the space and what they want to learn, that can be an area we focus on. but I'm supporting by also reading the people in the space and perhaps looking at where their gifts and talents reside and amplifying that and supporting them with that. Because some people will really feel and sense, and then some people will see, as you know, or hear, you know, and so really giving them tools for all the senses and how to access message and psychic abilities and um, just being in a space where we can all share our gifts because we learn from each other. So it's actually also creating a space where people can teach each other in the space, and I'm just holding the field really for that to happen as
It
well.
is, and I feel that this is so important. I see it. We have talked even about my daughter. My daughter is very psychic, and it is very hard for me as mother to tell her, oh, you need to do this and this and this. You need to trust yourself. And this, oh, mom, it's coming from you. So no, I'm not interested. But obviously, for she will listen to someone else. And I don't think my daughter is the unique case in this timeline. I believe many people are starting to wake up the psychic abilities because the veils are thinning and they need support and they need help how to handle that. It's not one day she told me, like, I don't know how you say that this is wonderful gift. It's not a gift. It is, but that's the thing is you have if you understand how to use it and manage it, it will be a gift.
Yeah,
If not, it's gonna be a something horrible that happened to you that you probably would need medication if you don't know how to handle it because
yeah,
it can be overwhelming too, right?
yeah. And yeah, absolutely. And I think what you're saying, just recognizing it as a gift and putting it in a positive context, like anything, you know, we need to see it for what it is because there'll be some shadows in it. And, you know, I've had some mighty frights and scary pathways with the shadows of this way of being with spirituality and mediumship. I've seen some scary stuff and some scary stuff has happened, but that's actually strength for me, just like any shadow work that we do. So, but recognizing the gift, it's so important, the light in it and illuminating the shadows as we go. But it's yeah, it's our mindset because I've heard other people sort of describe it as a blessing and a curse. Well, I've eliminated that word of curse in my vocab before um, this way of being. But yep, when I look back in my timeline, it was uncomfortable and scary. And if I could do it differently, I maybe would. But it's where I'm at. So I'm happy with where it's at. And my message moving forward is illuminate the practice as much as you can with light.
Because yeah, before it was not too many support in this way. It was
Mm,
not easy to find it, or you find it locally with someone, or you don't find it at all.
yeah,
And now there's so much support for everywhere for all this, and more people, and it's good because more people are waking up, more people are discovering these gifts, and they need support. And
yeah,
yes, definitely, it is important to do this kind of job, and I'm so glad that you're doing it. I can't think in a best
yeah.
teacher and a best person to do that.
I
That you
think much the same of you, Monica. And I think it's just key, isn't it, that be able to talk about it and be safe to talk about it and know and you know be proud of what is my truth, what is your truth, and just be open so that people can feel free in their exploration of the journey, whatever it is, without any rights and wrongs. Mm.
Hey, beautiful. To almost finish the program, I would like to ask you: would you like to channel a message for everybody, humankind,
Yeah,
or of course our viewers, but most of the humankind?
yeah, sure. I'll just see what comes through and it will be relevant to whoever hears it. And there'll be other layers to it, and just inviting whoever does receive it to perhaps interpret it for themselves in their own way and invite additional meaning. There's something about completion. It's like we're at the end of a cycle and it's just about to reboot to come into a new space of learning. This will be happening in personal lives. I feel like this is sort of singling out ones that are maybe listening here too. It's like there's such a big transformation. It may even invite a shift in not only in energy, but it could be a physical shift with relationships with people. There will be a bit of disruption in the process, but don't focus on the disruption. So this could be for the world as well. Like there's still some disruption to go through before we can come to a clear space. But that space is going to be sacred and it's going to have many surprises and it will bring people to their truest self. So the message in it is be brave, make those changes. If you've been thinking about making lifestyle changes right now, check in, listen to heart, could be around moving, moving, moving. I keep hearing that moving, moving. So the energies are really moving forward. You're safe with it, safe with it. So trust in that process. And if you're thinking about moving house, if you're thinking about changing lifestyle, making moves, make the move. Now's the time to shift. Yeah, I question it, but that's when I was asking Spirit, is that right? And they give me a big yes. So yeah, that's the answer. It's like yes, but it does feel like radical change is coming, and we know this. You know that this is a message coming through. Radical change is coming. We're not being tested. It's really important to get that out of our heads, is what I'm being told. It's like an accomplishment. It feels like an initiation, but it's actually to reach another level. It's not like a knock you down with a test and there's a pass or fail. It's a moving through. So there may be some testing times. I'm getting attention to the head, so it may be testing times of our thinking, thought processing, and minds. You know, like and the influence on our minds from the outside, whatever world, relationships, entities. It's like, but it's around here. So it's really important that we're all dropping into the heart and they're also bringing attention to the feet, making sure that you're going outside and getting feet on the grass and the grass or on the trees or into nature, into the bush, into whatever is the sense of home for you within nature energetically. If you can't get to it, go within and really go into the thinking, feeling, sensing, smelling. There's that NLP stuff again, but going into all the aspects of taking yourself deep into nature. It is a calling to go back to nature now more than ever. I think because there is some sort of disruption either in your lives personally or as a whole, as the world, it's like it's fragmented, but it is coming back together. It's really important you go ground and have your foundation nice and connected and clean and clear as these pieces come back together, because it's going to be a little bit shaky for a wee while and then we're going to come out the other side of it, and then there seems to be a calm and it's a peace within self. It's like you can be in your peace now, but and we know this with the world right now, don't we? It's like it's up in the air, it's crazy, it seems to get crazier and crazier as time just keeps going by, but it's just a message of keep coming back into self. And if you're feeling the urge to make those changes now. It feels like a time of change and completion and new beginnings. A new beginning is coming to fruition. It just went really quiet.
It feels like that. But you're right. There are many changes that are coming and that we know it. I don't think only the psychics know it. I believe the worldwide know it, that there's the world changing, and to be prepared and to be ready, not in chaos, be in love and in the light. So like that we all can help each other.
Yeah.
Thank you. Vicky. Thank you for the beams of light, for that message.
You're welcome. And just as a final note to that message, I got quite cleanly and clearly our loved ones do want us to take a moment and really speak to them and listen to them. And that might not be you hearing them with your ears, you might hear them within your body and being, or something synchronistic happening around you. Be observant. When you ask for them, they come. When you talk to them, they respond. Just don't have the expectations of how that response is going to come across, and then you'll start seeing, feeling, hearing so much more. But it's like I'm just hearing from spirit, whether this is the one person or a collective. I love you and I see you. I'm here for you. I'm here. Like there's a message of I'm here, and ask me. So it's spirit, reminding us to ask them for help. We're not going to bother them when we're asking our lovely grandfather or father or mother or lover, whoever it might be that's in our heart. They are in our hearts, and when they pop into your mind, that's not them popping into your mind. That's them showing up. So be observant.
That is true. We just need to ask.
Yeah, yeah,
Because remember, we have our free will and they can't intervene. And I'm not
yeah,
saying it for you, I'm saying it for everybody
yeah.
that
No,
is listening. Is like they can't intervene unless we ask for help.
yeah,
It's they can intervene in our free will.
yeah,
So yes, ask. Oh gosh, this has been an amazing talk and an amazing conversation. We need to repeat that,
yes,
Kelly. And don't let me just say the last thing, and do not disconnect after the broadcast. The next week we are going to have the next Monday at 7 o'clock. We are going to have a Beijing. She is in, I believe, in Japan, and she's a Reiki master, and we're going to be having a conversation with her. Thank you, everybody, for your presence. Thank you for being here, and thank you, Kelly. It's
thank
really
you.
my pleasure to talk about love, because this is love channeling, and mediumship and helping others is about love in
Yeah,
reality. So
and
thank
I
you,
love you, Monica. Thank you, and
and
thank you for
yes,
participating.
yes, I have listened to both. Very humbling and listening. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you,
Yes,
Wiki. Thank you,
yeah.
everybody.